Good afternoon, good evening, hello, and welcome to this week's edition of Changing the Questions. My name is Paul Laporte, and unfortunately today I am not joined by my usual partner in crime, Mike Miner. He is out sick. I have brought in not one, but two special guests to us, good friends of mine. We have, sitting across from me, Mr. Johnny Patches.
Hello.
And sitting on my left, Dominic Schmidt. I think that's like the first time I've ever, like in 10 years, legitimately used your given name.
I still
maybe
wouldn't.
For like a sign up for something.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's
no,
weird.
Probably the first time.
You're always going to be newbie to me. But today you're Dominic Schmidt, goddammit. Okay, so the question that I'm going to look at today is, with this being, coming towards the end of 2015 and being the modern age of professional wrestling, I wanted to ask this question, and I think that you guys are good ones to ask it too, because of the way of the style of professional wrestling you guys enjoy and everything, and we're all kind of really big fans of Lucha Underground and things like that. The question we're going to deal with today is kayfabe, does it matter anymore? Does kayfabe matter anymore? Quick history lesson, I guess, for anybody who might need it. Kayfabe is the reference to wrestling pretending that it's real, essentially. When actors are not actually in the ring, when they're outside of it, they have to pretend like this is all a real thing. You would have tag teams who would just ride together and partner together because they're supposed to be friends all the time and around each other, and people who are rivals aren't supposed to be seen in public together. And everything is, even despite the fact that everybody knows that this is not a real thing, everybody is supposed to kind of pretend like it is. Most recently, the best example of this is the Rusev-Lana stuff, where they were in a storyline where they were, they had a falling out, they were broken up, but then they got engaged in real life, and then all of a sudden, just WWE decides, okay, well, we need to, because this got released on TMZ and this is out to the public, we need to acknowledge this on our actual program, and then life became art again, and now Lana's back with Rusev, and it was just basically kind of completely written off for no reason. So I wanted to get your guys' opinions on this. John, we'll start with you. What do you think?
I miss kayfabe. It was a better time, I think. Back with Jim Cornette, King Kong Bundy staying in character 24/7. You go to the mall, King Kong Bundy is King Kong Bundy, and if you go to his house, he's the nicest guy in the world, is what everyone said. It was definitely a different era, and social media has changed all that. It's changed to the point of even Breaking Ground as a good example. You see rivals practicing in the ring together. You see Nia Jax training with Dana Brooks, training with Asuka. WWE understands at this point that kayfabe is dead. They're going to try to hold on to it for the last bastions of doing a TV program of good versus evil. Other than that, though, I don't think that it matters as much as it did previously.
Dominic?
I want to go back to the point where they cast aside the Lana Rusev Dolph Summer storyline and throw out that they didn't cast that aside for no reason. They cast it aside because it was god awful.
Yeah, but that has not stopped them in the past.
No, but they tried it for what, a month and a half, 2 months, and it was the same thing in and out. There were some great moments in it. The Lana's a wet fish and he throws the fish. There were just great bits from it that I will always look back and be like, what was great when Rusev threw that giant fish. But overall it was terrible. The thing that yes, kayfabe's dead. There's no argument to the contrary that I can think of. I'm never watching something and being like, you know what, I really do think that Dean Ambrose is a crazy person.
I think Dean Ambrose
I think he is legitimately crazy.
I've seen those John Moxley quotation mark interviews.
I don't watch anything that WWE puts out that makes me think that Dean Ambrose is a legitimate crazy person. What I do really like that I guess because I do like all the stuff that was in kayfabe and all the continuations of that. Whenever it seems like it's no longer with the company to WWE, whoever, to keep kayfabe alive, it's with the actual talent, and the talent does a really good job. Whenever something comes up that is in kayfabe, it's fantastic. If you're watching, Xavier Woods did a live stream of Up Up Down Down before Raw a couple weeks ago, and in it, at the end, after about an hour, you see like some shuffling around and some figuring stuff out, and then he sits down to play Windjammers or whatever they're playing. He sits down with Tyler Breeze, and then you kind of like see some motioning off camera, and Dolph super kicks Tyler Breeze, and it was great. It was just like for a split second, kayfabe was back, and like and Dolph super kicks Tyler Breeze, and Xavier Woods was like, we gotta cut, we gotta go, and he turns off the feed, and it was great. Anytime that kayfabe comes back, it seems like it's always in the hands of the talent who like want it to sort of show it off for a few minutes here and there, this and that, and when that happens, I think it's really great because it's something that is just gone.
Well, it's worth noting that the WWF are the people who just straight up killed kayfabe to begin with, and everybody thinks this was, this happened like recently or the last 10 years or in the Attitude Era or whatever. But really, when Vince McMahon Jr. was getting rolling in the 80s, he basically straight up told people that this wasn't a legitimate sport in order to avoid paying athletic commission fees. It was purely a business decision, and they were the ones that pulled back that curtain to begin with. And it's just weird to me to see, not only do they try and kind of backpedal on that at times, but then I swear it seems like in the example of Rusev and Lana, like I swear they're being punished for getting engaged in real life and ruining the storyline.
Well, word wherever you want to believe from whatever is, I guess word is Vince hates couples because...
Yeah, anybody who is in a relationship in WWE is like evil or horrible. Yeah,
especially if they bang Batista.
So he puts him in this weird sexual tension storyline, and is just maybe trying to drive a wedge between them. I don't know how much you want to believe on that. To go back to you saying Vince and the athletic convention and everything with that. Do you remember what year that was? Because also in the 80s was the actual big breaking of kayfabe of Iron Sheik, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, car full of coke.
It makes me really happy you've done your research.
Yeah, it was.
You've come a long way, Padawan.
It was definitely prior to the WrestleManias. I think it was pretty early '80s. It wasn't actually. It wasn't really that long after Vince just kind of really started to bring it into a national level out of a regional territory. And like I said, I genuinely kind of think what happened is that he told them that, but if you weren't paying attention at that particular moment, you never got the memo, and everybody was still kind of encouraged because you had Hulk Hogan choking out Richard Belzer and cracking his skull open. Like, you had all of these people who were told they either did it for themselves because they felt that it was better business for them to be seen as legit intimidating people, or they were being told by Vince, we don't know which is the case, to act like this is a real thing. And like I said, you wouldn't see people very often hanging out together if they were in a storyline against each other, and if they were punished for it. So I'm not sure specifically when it started, but again, like I said, even though he said that, he kind of backpedaled, and that's something WWE has been doing forever. It's like, on one hand, we're like, this is an entertainment product, like, and the same thing with like the Stone Cold Pillman gun angle. Like they had to go on the next week and be like, no, this isn't real, this is fine. And then on another hand, they obscure it or they cover it up. And I mean, we had two Monday Night Raw this is Tuesday. Last night, the NYPD was flooded with thousands of phone calls, legitimate phone calls from people when Vince McMahon got arrested because people thought that he was like actually at the NYPD station, like being processed. Like they thought that. So people still, to this day, people who should know better, people who do know better, if we're being honest, still get caught up in that for some reason and still go to that. And we say that kayfabe doesn't matter and it's dead and social media killed it and all this stuff killed it, but in reality, it still happens.
Are you telling me that the Vince McMahon glamour shot, mugshots that they
swear
showed,
people,
those weren't real?
Yeah.
And for the record, there are easier ways to call Vince McMahon at his office. Not like we've done that before.
Short aside. SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, I believe it was, 2007, one of them, had GM mode. It had, like, the first GM mode before they turned it into, like, they did it the next year.
First GM mode.
Yeah, and they did it the next year, and then they turned it into Universe mode. So the first GM mode I loved so much, and I just wish that they would, like, release it as, like, a Flash game. I loved it so much. So I got the number for WWE headquarters, and they just have, like, it answers, it's a robot that answers, and it says, please say the name of the person you'd like to speak to. And I'm like, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And it's like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm just like, and it rang forever. Nobody ever answered, and he doesn't have a voicemail, which is probably good because it would have just been me yelling, you gotta release GM mode.
Were you drunk?
But not the new one, probably. Yeah, with the whole kayfabe is dead situation. I think what really shines through with these people that still believe, you know, your mark out moments, if you want to call them, or just anything in general. If you look back at like the Attitude Era and Stone Cold, like if you beat the hell out of your boss, you don't have a job. Those are the rules of
corporate America,
of everywhere ever, most of the time. So obviously, everyone knew that it wasn't real, but if the storyline is good enough, people, they want to believe. If the storyline is good enough, you get caught up in the moment and you don't care whether it's real or not. And I think that's something that's sort of lost in the past couple years with how everything has sort of changed. It's not that we're not in like 2007, like the collapse of wrestling, like with Obama was elected president, and then the stock market crashed, and then wrestling crashed, and the storylines from like 7 to 9 were like bad. But we kind of hit like a weird stagnant period over the past 2 years where it seems like everybody wants Daniel Bryan, but he's an injury machine, so
yes,
they
neck
can't
is made
have
of
him.
baby bird bones. Yeah.
So they can't have him. And everybody was sort of like waiting on it, and honestly, at this point, I just can't care anymore.
So here's the last thing I'll ask before we kind of end this part of this discussion is that kayfabe existing in a way, it almost feels like it hurts the product and makes people who are outsiders less likely to get interested in it, because people think that with kayfabe existing, that like every wrestling fan has to believe that this is a real thing in order to be interested in it, and nobody kind of can come in with that idea of, hey, this is a television show I'm watching and let me kind of judge its merits on that, and they kind of go in it and they just like see a first match like, oh, this guy would never do this in a real fight, and then they're done. Like it's just, it almost makes me wonder if the fact that it's kind of still sort of floating around, if it almost hurts professional wrestling as a artistic medium advancing.
As a TV show?
I mean,
legitimately. Everybody, no one tuned into Lost, and we're like,
right,
smoke monster. This wouldn't happen on an island,
right? But that's what I'm saying. That people believe that that's what wrestling fans think when they see these things, and the fact that they're kind of, as an outsider, think that we're supposed to believe that kind of turns them off without them ever seeing it.
But on the other hand, the New York PD was inundated with hundreds and thousands
from
of
wrestling
phone
fans,
calls.
though.
Right.
Know?
Well, these are the same fans that are giving it that, oh, well, this is fake, this is stupid, why do you believe in this? Instead of looking at it as, I know one of my friend's exes would go crazy, as an art form. You know, this is art, it's performance art. You know, they're telling a story, they're going out there, they're putting their bodies and lives on the line, as we've all seen before, you know, within the last 20 years.
Yes.
You know, people need to get over the fact of it's fake. It's fiction. It's a TV show. And if you don't understand that, then you're the problem, not the product.
All right, we're going to go ahead and cut this off here. This is going to be kind of a special two-part episode. I'll go ahead and give the usual plugs. If you want to send us any feedback, you can send us an email, changingthequestions@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on Twitter, @changingtheQs. That's @changingtheQS. You can look us up on Facebook. You can look us up on YouTube. And we'll be back on Thursday for the next episode, continuing this conversation. And thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you then. Bye.